It's a mind-boggling phenomenon. We've all seen it. It's so predictable, it's humorous, if it weren't so devastating to the productivity of every business, nation, and relationship on Earth. What are we talking about? Some strain of influenza? The onset of an environmental catastrophe or genetic mutation? What plague consumes $10 to $20 trillion per year of progress on the planet? At least 10% of all potential development worldwide. Perhaps you've never heard of it, or maybe you have, and it strikes fear in your heart. It should. This horrific curse is NIMBY. Not in my backyard. In the United States, economists say NIMBY loss of growth would make that loss the 8th largest economy in the world, ahead of Brazil, Australia, and Russia. Just a loss. As you may know, not in my backyard can be explosive. The NIMBY virus has reared its infectious head in nearly every political or economic project for as long as humans have bartered, built, or sold. Wars fought, empires stolen, projects demonized, startups, jobs, and marriages lost, all due to the power of the NIMBY phenomenon. So what is NIMBY? NIMBY is the predictable psychological resistance to changing pretty much anything. NIMBY situations erupt with the call to change or improve any piece of property or project or relationship or habit. The NIMBY response is often an inexplicably irrational reaction or even anger when ownership or local respect are perceived to be threatened, particularly by an outsider or competitor. Invasion of space, regardless of the sometimes poor conditions of that space, or the value of the promised improvements, creates the environment for a potentially hostile, often unreasonable, not in my backyard response. This happens daily in the workplace, in communities, in families, in every type of human undertaking, collaboration, or relationship. NIMBY is like the proverbial knee-jerk reaction or patellar reflex, the lower leg boinging up with the slight pop of a rubber mallet without any conscious thought by the patient. It just happens if we're alive. NIMBY is kind of like that. If we're alive, it's in play. When an outsider suggests change or improve or different to anything, NIMBY is going to happen. The old is better, and we've never done it that way, and not in my backyard are just knee-jerk. People want to control their own lives, and understandably so. It may seem irrational, and may actually be irrational to prefer the status quo and lack of progress, or even poverty and bad schools to change, but it is knee-jerk and automatic by many. It wouldn't occur to us that resistance to change or an idea is often essentially a chemical version of the knee-jerk. It seems crazy to be angry at a project or opportunity that could dramatically help one's life and family. NIMBY is indeed weird. But would it help us navigate our path if we were aware that NIMBY reaction is not automatically a declaration of war from a mortal enemy who must be crushed or deceived into surrender? NIMBY and intensely negative reactions in negotiations or proposals are almost always unintended chemical reactions due to our unintended provocation, resulting in a hormone dump in our counterparts. Therefore, we need not be put out by NIMBY attacks, and there's no need on our parts for retaliation, lying, or manipulation. Here's how our bodies work. We are essentially chemical batteries on two legs. We are running all of our processes by tiny millivolt chemical and electrical impulses. We all have DNA that affects our health, moods, inclinations, and preferences. And science says we are also chemically and electrically hardwired to some extent by childhood hugs and noise and drugs and diet and our experiences, whether good or bad. We are also designed to be hormone factories. Our bodies dump various emotion-causing chemicals into our veins and brains when things happen around us. An adrenaline dump can give you superhuman strength to lift an automobile off of a kitty cat, or during public speaking, adrenaline and cortisol can set you up to have your stomach in your throat and a quivering voice. That's just a hormone dump. It happens to all of us. Usually, when a NIMBYite is resisting a great deal or awesome project, he is not just being a jerk. That irrational and hostile reaction is frequently just as involuntary as a knee-jerk reaction or fear of public speaking. That's important to know. Flawless logic in our presentations or proposals will not overcome DNA, childhood hardwiring, experiences, or the real-time chemical dispensing factories of humans. Scientifically, brain scans show that what we think are frontal lobe rational decisions or justifiable responses frequently are not so at all. Our logical minds are often entirely blocked by emotions. We don't even know this has happened to us. If true for someone as mature and together as yourself, this hormone phenomenon will also be true, obviously, for the stakeholders, the collaborators, the community, the voters, the terrorists, the financier, or your children. Science and brain scans say none of us are as logical as we claim. Since we know this is scientific reality, no matter how we think we feel, we can now begin to improve the outcome of relationships and projects and elections. Let's talk about this.